Yo, yo, yo. Good. Wow, that's loud.
Too loud?
That's a little loud. A little loud. Yo, yo, yo. Welcome to Mik'd Up.
Better?
Better. Better. We are live from Uncle Earl's. Today is Friday, December 9th. We're also brought to you by Sterling Automotive. We got a great show. We got a normal Friday show. There's not going to be any video calls. There's not going to be a lot of commercials. There's going to be an hour and a half straight of us just bullshitting. Really. Shooting the shit, really bullshit.
I've deemed it a free flow Friday.
Free flow Friday. That's a perfect way to go about it. We have a little bit or a lot of it to talk about, depending on who you are, depending on what you like. Jared's favorite player, Baker Mayfield. Is he back or is he not back? I don't know. We're gonna talk about it. I know Jared.
Back to what?
Jared was texting me all day. Man, I was wrong about Baker. He's so good. And, you know, so we're gonna get into
I'm gonna
that.
get Lloyd to take pictures of my phone and show how much Mikey's lying right now, because that never came out.
Please give me your phone.
Hey, listen. Whatever you think about Baker Mayfield, one way or the other, if you think he's good, if you think he's bad, if you think he's hasn't got an opportunity, or you think he's had too many opportunities, whatever you think, what he did last night, you got to tip your hat to him, because that's impressive. 98 yards, his second day in the building. To drive down. Now, the Raiders did a lot of things to help them. The Raiders kind of gave that game. It seemed eerily similar to what the Saints game was on Monday night.
It was.
I mean, the score ended up being the same. It kind of ended up the same. The Raiders kind of gave the game away. The Saints gave the game away. The Raiders decided to jump off sides on a punt. That game was probably going to be over.
Let's get to the Heineken headlines.
Okay,
I know. We got to get into this because I know Jared Mitchell has a lot of.
We're going to get in there.
Apologizing to do.
We're going to get in there. I don't know about apologizing. I think he's got his side he wants to tell.
Yeah.
Football season's kind of winding down, right? College football season, NFL starting to get to the playoffs. Obviously, there's probably, I think there's 4 or 5 games left in the NFL season. Basketball has been going on, believe it or not. I don't know if you know. I know a lot of people don't look at the NBA until Christmas. That's kind of like the
rule of thumb.
De facto.
Oh, y'all playing?
So, yeah. Basketball is – now, it sucks because the NFL seems like they're trying to just take Christmas Day away from them.
Yeah, I think they are, yeah.
They're having football games on Christmas and the whole deal. It's a weekend.
And have you seen where the locations of all the games are?
Where?
In every major city where the basketball games are.
Yeah, so they're kind of taking a little bit of the basketball's thunder, but if you didn't know, and if you haven't been paying attention, the Pelicans are in first place in the West. They are 2 games ahead. They have 2 games against the Suns this weekend.
In the Western Conference.
Yeah, so okay.
We know.
Thanks for clarifying.
But for everyone
in the
else
Western
who doesn't understand,
Conference, yes. They are in first place in the Western Conference.
Like, if the season ended today, they are the number 1 seed.
The number 1 seed. And I think a lot of people expected them to be in the top half of the Western Conference going in. Now, we're going to get into that. I know a lot of people haven't watched it. I don't know if you're interested. If you haven't watched the Pelicans, you should, because they're exciting and they're fun.
Yeah.
And they're not doing what the Pelicans have done in the past, where they finished the season strong the year before and they play well, and you're like, oh, my God, they're going to be good, and they shit the bed the next year. To start the season, they start off slow, and they kind of lose. No. They came out guns blazing. Zion's healthy. He's been playing well. The team is very good. Even when their stars are out, they're winning. So if you haven't been paying attention, you should. The transfer portal continues to heat up. The recruiting class continues to heat up. Obviously, you knew going into this offseason that there was going to be some attrition on the LSU football team. You knew that some guys are going to leave. Some guys are going to hit the portal and go somewhere else, right? But you also knew a lot of teams were going to lose players as well, and we were going to gain guys in the portal. I think some of the guys, like Jack Best, we've talked about Jack. It's a shame that he's gone. I think some of the guys that have gone in the portal this year, look, good for them. I think that's probably the best move for them to go out and get other opportunities. As a fan, as somebody watching from the outside, not knowing and not knowing actually what happened, how practice went, how they went, it doesn't concern me that these guys are gone. It's not somebody I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe he left. Now, Mekhi Garner going into the draft, I thought he was going to come back. He made it seem like he was going to come back, but he didn't. He's gone. That's just the way it is. There's some attrition. We're going to get some guys back. Looks like Denver Harris is.
We're in play.
I think we're more than in play. I think it's.
We'll give it that at the least.
I think it's. If I'm a betting man, I would bet that it's going to happen.
Yeah.
But nothing's official. Nothing has been said. Nothing is going on. It just looks like when there's smoke, there's fire, and it looks like there's a lot of smoke. It's almost like a forest fire worth of smoke.
Denver loves the smoke.
I set you up for that one.
Allegedly.
I'll set you. Yeah, allegedly. I laid you out. I threw an
alley-oop, dude.
6 LSU football players landed on the all freshman conference team, right? Harold Perkins, Will Campbell, Emory Jones, Mason Taylor, Damian Ramos, and Nathan Debert. I'm not gonna get into that one. Congratulations to all the freshmen.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Congratulations.
I mean, there's nothing else to say.
Congratulations.
They did their job very well.
Yeah.
If you are a
doesn't matter. They did their job very well. There's a place for that guy.
Look, they did their job better than the other freshmen in the conference.
There
we go. That's the way you look at it, right? They did the job better than other freshmen in the conference. Congratulations, all of them. They all are deserving of the award.
Especially when your coach writes a book on special teams, like this should have been. We should have known this was happening.
I think that he. You think Bill Polian has earned the
Brian?
God, Brian, you're right, Brian.
Bill is still upset about Lamar.
Yeah, Bill still doesn't think Lamar can be a quarterback. But.
Oh, dude, I bet he hates watching LSU games.
Well, speaking of, your favorite,
Mr. Sweet
NFL draft analyst,
Mr. Sweet Potato Pie,
Mel Kiper, came out with his top 5
he's back already?
Came out with his top 5 quarterbacks. Jayden Daniels landed at number 5 on his list.
Wow.
On his list. Now, I said that. I was like, wow, maybe Jayden thinks about going. And Lloyd says, has anybody ever listened to Mel Kiper? I'm like, well, he still has a job with ESPN. He said, if you go look at all of his mock drafts and all this stuff, it's not going to – I don't think he's been right ever. I think that's an exaggeration. I don't think that's true. But needless to say, he is
he's been fooling him for a long time.
He is 5th on his ranking. Now, if you're a betting person and you like to – and you have been betting, and if you're a soccer fan, don't really watch soccer regularly. I enjoy watching the World Cup. Now, USA's out, and that just kind of takes a little bit of the luster away from me. But a lot of people like to gamble on the World Cup.
Yeah.
A lot of people like to watch it. It's very energetic. It's very entertaining. If you're watching and you had some money on this, Brazil lost to Croatia. And I'd imagine some people lost some money on that, right? They lost in PKs too, which I hate that.
What do you want him to do?
I mean, what do you want him to do? Play another quarter? They've been running around for an hour and 20 minutes.
I know you have to do it. It's just
2 hours.
It's like losing,
no commercials.
It's like losing a basketball game on the shooting free throw. Hey, who's gonna make the best out of 10 free throws?
It's the Dr. Pepper challenge.
Yeah, it's like that's
Gave
tough.
you 3 extra times. Y'all don't want to score. All right,
I
here
don't
you go.
even think Neymar got the kick.
That's tough.
That means they missed too many early on. That's what that means.
My alma mater, St. Thomas More High School out in Lafayette. Congratulations, they are the Division II state champions.
They played today?
They played today.
Earlier?
Big high scoring game. It was like 56-48 or something.
They played earlier today?
Yeah.
What time they played?
I don't know.
What was the spread?
That's tough.
They
They
won,
got the
though.
early. They got the early bird. Good luck.
I don't know what this. There's got to be. I'm sure some people have spreads on high school football games. Huh?
I can find
BG, do people have spreads on high school football games? People bet high school football games?
They used to have some.
It's at MasseyRatings.com.
I've heard of some before.
Damn. Well, yeah. Right. Congratulations, St. Thomas More, state champions. That whole Division II stuff has helped my alma mater a lot. They don't have to play.
It's bullshit.
They don't have to play the Westgates or the
It's bush. I don't like that. I'm just being look. Here's my opinion on that is. We take the class of school. I don't care if it's public or private.
I do agree with
and
that.
then you play against each other.
I do agree.
We'll stop trying to give everyone a trophy. I don't
covered
really
by
love
half
that.
a point.
Hey, there we go. I do agree with that. We got distractions over here. Let's get back to the NFL.
I had to cut the camera away. I don't know what was going on.
I'll be back later, boys.
You want to stand up now?
let's get back to last night's football game. So Thursday night football has been a lot. It has left a lot to be desired, right? Like they haven't been fun. There hasn't been high-scoring games. Last night was not by any means a high-scoring game, but it ended up being a really good game, and it ended up being an entertaining game. And Baker Mayfield, who got claimed off of waivers by the Los Angeles Rams, apparently booked his flight before he was ever claimed, hoping that he was going to get claimed by the Rams.
That just makes me like him less.
I know. So he books his flight to LA, and with the assumption that he's going to get claimed, he gets claimed, he gets there. He is in the, understanding the offense and understanding the schemes and looking at the playbook for 2 days before the game on Thursday. He doesn't start. Comes in after what? First drive, first series. Yeah. Comes in 16 to 3. You know, he didn't turn the ball over. He got sacked a few times, and all of a sudden, fourth quarter happens. The Raiders do what the Saints did. They give the game away. Baker goes 98 yards with 0 timeouts, I believe, right?
I don't remember if they had timeouts.
0 timeouts.
Did they have none or no?
They had 0 timeouts. They go 98 yards. A couple pass interference penalties, and then the Raiders, for some reason that I can't understand, decide to go play single high safety man coverage on the outside when the only play that beats you is a touchdown over the top. That's it. If you say, hey, I'm going to play everybody back, and he catches it and you tackle him and play, the game's over with. There's no timeouts left. It's going to be too hard for them to get down there, but they say, no, we're going to go single high, we're going to play man coverage, and then you're going to get beat, and Baker's going to make a good throw, and you're going to win the game. Lose the game. So, your favorite player in the NFL. I love that Michael Jackson's in the background, actually. Makes me feel, I like that. It's good vibes.
Well, that's a controversial take. You want R. Kelly up next?
Okay, see, I'm talking about strictly music. You have to go to a lot of the stuff that we don't even need to talk about.
I don't even know why you asked him that question. I knew where this was going.
I didn't even ask it. Was it because of comment?
I knew it.
I didn't ask him a question.
You gave him the eyes you wanted him to speak. I knew it wasn't going to come out good.
Give me your take on your favorite quarterback in the NFL.
So, all right, first and foremost, I've been very critical of Baker.
Really?
Very critical. So I can easily tell you, like, I'll give props where props is due.
That's great.
For what he was asked to do in those circumstances, and I don't care if they beat the Houston Texans. It's still an NFL football team, right?
Yeah.
Like, that was impressive. Do I think it's sustainable? No, I think he's still going to get a lot of Baker wherever he goes, and he does what he does, right? I think he was probably able to humble himself to some degree and kind of try to be a part and not the main, I guess, pog in the whole thing, right?
Right,
and it worked. But it was super impressive what he did last night. Now, I'll go back to it and say, and you can even think back to, like, your high school days. Both of us playing football was a lifetime ago.
Yeah, how about my center? My center was good, huh?
I don't know, your center, that squat.
We have to put that out on social.
We're gonna cut that clip and put it in the commercials.
I mean, I couldn't get him to lift his ass up, man. I don't know what you want me to tell you.
Is that straight out?
Wait. So let me finish this.
Okay, yeah.
So for me, I could think back to like every Thursday at LSU, and we are doing the 2-minute drill, right? If you told the defense that they had to play man coverage all the way down the field, they would tell you, like, this is bullshit. Like, you're setting us up for failure, so when they score, it makes them look like they did something. That's not really a thing.
Right.
So I don't understand what the Raiders were trying to accomplish by playing man coverage defense and by letting people get over the top of you in those situations. With that being said, Baker still made some very impressive throws to guys he has no time with, no chemistry with, no throws with, and he dropped balls literally in the bucket.
The last throw couldn't have been better.
In the bucket, and guys made plays,
Yep.
and that shit's impressive.
And
so I'll give him his props on that,
Yeah.
100%. I just don't think it's very sustainable.
Right, and look, that's
I say Baker.
Yeah, right, and I think that is very that take is warranted. Obviously, it's been obvious he hasn't been good. He's had one, maybe 1.5 seasons that were good, productive quarterback seasons. Some injuries, bad teams, whatever excuse you want to say. I understand it. Going there and doing what he did on a team that he's not familiar with, right, is impressive. Now, it looked like the way the team reacted around him, that looks good. It looks like they kind of have embraced Baker for the week that he's been there. I'm not on board with the headbutting stuff. I don't know.
Obviously.
I mean, I think that's a little, like that. And I don't know anything about Baker in his past and what he's done, but that could be his thing.
I did hear him say
get
something
away from a white cop. I saw that during his time in college.
Hey,
Like,
everybody
that's
makes mistakes, man.
Well, if you're gonna make a move, you got to get out the pocket. We got to go. I'd respect it more if he got away, not get tackled for a loss.
He may have been a little inebriated.
just a bit.
Yeah.
I did hear this too when you watched him play last night. I did hear I heard apparently like a lot of the I wouldn't say hype. A lot of the excitement from the teammates probably came from the like 20 throws that he had with the team before. apparently, like, since Stafford got hurt, he's on injured reserve. It was the first time, like people openly came out and said it was the first time that it looked like a real NFL quarterback was throwing to him. And
outside of Stafford.
And no shot to the guys that obviously play quarterback.
John Wofford?
Yeah, they just don't have that. Just not the same talent.
So John Wofford, they made they talked about on Amazon Prime Thursday Night Football. They talked about John Wofford record himself reading the plays and all this stuff, and he'd play it in his car. And so he was just
that's how he learned it.
That's how he learned it, which I respect it.
Yeah,
like everybody's
cool.
got
Hey, you learn how you learn.
Everybody's got their own way now.
You learn how you learn.
I will say this: as much as we want to give kudos to Baker and all these people and everything that happened, it's great. I mean, that was an unbelievable win, unbelievable comeback. The Raiders just shit the game away.
Yeah, of course.
Right? The Raiders jumped off sides on a punt. They were punting the ball back to the Raiders. All they had to do was really get 1 or 2 first downs, and the game was over. They jump off sides, first down. Then Max Crosby, who's a stud, by the way, makes a huge play. Basically, almost ends the game. And then, who was it? Who was the defensive lineman or whoever it was that knocked the ball out of the other guy's hand? And
Jerry Tillery, proud of Evangel.
There you go.
Spurned LSU to go to Notre Dame.
Yep, to Brian Kelly.
Big academic guy.
Yep.
Had a great ACT score, but not a high IQ play there.
But don't look like you use them academics.
Knock the ball out, penalty, keep the drive going, pass interference, and then all of a sudden, big play. Now listen, when you have 98 yards to go with no timeouts left, you need some breaks. The breaks happened. They went their way. They won the game. Raiders gave it away. That's the end of it.
Good old cover for your boy. Should have took money.
Some people lost some money on that play.
I would imagine.
Yeah.
Who was that we were just talking about recently that's a huge bettor against, severe underdogs? Or, he's a huge bettor with severe underdogs?
Maybe a potential, the guy that you met with in Lafayette that picks the crazy odds.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He had to have made some money last night, huh?
I don't know if he bet the game.
If he did.
But I don't think those odds were that big, right?
I mean, if you took a money line, coach, it was
what was it?
At 6.5.
Oh, yeah, so I guess it probably was plus 250 maybe?
Yeah. You probably
It
looked
had
at
to
that
be.
realm.
Yeah, I'm about to say.
Wow. Yeah, he probably may have taken that. I know he didn't watch it.
Which is I respect that so much.
I looked at it this morning
up.
look at that.
He may be down in the amount of bets that he wins, but he's up in the amount of units that he wins on the bets.
Yeah.
Hungry dogs run
That's
faster.
all that matters, though, the unit, baby.
All that matters is the bottom line. If I'm up in money, I'm up.
I don't care if I'm losing the bets. I'm up on money, baby. Here we go.
A lot of people lost on Brazil.
Oof.
Yeah, I did. I didn't bet. All right, so let's get to the recruiting stuff and the transfer portal stuff and the stuff that I know a lot of people around here want to talk about. You have a different perspective on the recruiting because you get to host a show with Shay Dixon. I'm giving you a plug for the show that you get to host with Shay.
The Power Hour with Shay Dixon.
On Wednesdays?
On Wednesdays.
At what time?
10 to 11.
Yep. 10 to 11.
It's not exactly what you think. There is recruiting news in there, but they gave the reins to your boy. So we ping pong around a little bit.
Yeah. You got a lot of similar personalities.
Yeah. The first 30 minutes of the show on this Wednesday where we talked about Limitless, the movie with Bradley Cooper.
Yep, get the name right.
Yeah.
Great movie. I wish, and it's not, people say, oh, it's Adderall. Nope, not Adderall.
Not Adderall. Better than Adderall.
I wish there was something without the side effects, obviously.
Yeah, I don't want to drink.
Adderall was probably a main influencer of the movie when they thought they had
what
this
if
idea.
we made a better Adderall? But, yes, on Shade the Power. See how easily you can get sucked into the Limitless conversation? That's what happened.
Because it's something that everybody wants to be able to do.
Yeah.
Well,
obviously.
Elon Musk is working on that. He built a computer chip that you can insert in your brain, and he said it's within a year. And so good luck to everybody that does that.
What is it supposed to do?
Make you like a human computer. Like your brain will just be like Wikipedia.
And then whenever he's done with you, explode your brain, you die?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, go ahead.
And there's probably no insurance on it, so you just
Hey, it may work, it may not work. Look, we're gonna get all the kinks out. We're gonna recall the chips. Well, you already put it in my head, and now I'm going.
Now I can't open my right eye.
And now I have fuzzy things in my eyes, and I can't see.
And
shit.
I keep drooling on myself.
Yeah, it's
weird.
What is that about?
But I swear I'm smart.
Yeah. All right, so go back to Power Hour. Back to recruiting.
What you want to know?
You were about to go. I was talking about the recruiting, the portal, and stuff that's happening. I said you have a very good perspective because you get to talk to Shay about some of the stuff. I don't talk to Shay every day. You talk to him
once a week.
Once a week. So you have a little bit more insight. It looks like Denver Harris is coming this way. Obviously, it's not confirmed. It hasn't been official. It's not official, but it looks like he's coming. I think that was the guy that everybody thought was going to come here out of high school. I think the NIL got to him at Texas A&M. He was one of the big
free agents.
the number one.
There.
He was a number one cornerback in the country last year, correct?
Yes.
Coming out of high school. So he goes there. He's in this huge recruiting class, the legendary recruiting class at Texas A&M. They underachieved. He had some incidents that happened at Texas A&M. He is an 18-year-old kid. Don't call him child. He's an 18-year-old kid, right? Mistakes happen. Things happen. People can grow, and people can get better, and people can learn from their mistakes. I hope that he had learned from his mistakes. I hope that he understands that, listen, that's, one's dangerous, not just to you, but what if somebody came out of their car and you smacked them running around the corner?
Yeah, it could have been
It could have been bad. It wasn't. No, nothing happened.
Lucky.
And you learn from your mistakes. Anybody can change. To hold that against them is wrong, right? To hold the alleged stuff that happened that he did in the locker room against them is wrong, right? Things change.
And to clear all that up, he was not a part of that group.
There you
Even
go.
A&M
See?
went ahead and said, like, look, he wasn't in a part of the 20-some-odd guys that were smoking vape pens of the THC in the locker room. So he was not a part of that. Yes, he's had some run-ins. Of course, who hasn't? And my whole point of this thing is, give me my Ziploc bag back.
Okay.
Yeah, don't have my shoestrings.
Okay.
Like I said, people can change. I haven't, but it does happen. So my point is, I think what happened at A&M is they brought in all these high-profile guys, right? You bring in 5-star after 5-star after 5-star. A lot of that comes with a little bit of baggage, right? These guys all want to be kind of placated to a little bit. And when you look at the culture at A&M, it's more money over alignment, right? Like, I feel like Jimbo was like, we'll just put all these guys together. Do you remember the old Eagles teams when they signed Vince Young, Nami Asamoah, and I think Michael Vick was on that team, maybe.
Well, Michael Vick was great.
But so they had to bring him in. But this was like, and Nnamdi Asomugha was like, we're making a super team, and they bombed.
Bunch of eye guys.
Yeah, and that's what I think happened at A&M. Without the culture that they have, they don't have an established winning culture. Jimbo doesn't know how to handle all those personalities because Jimbo is just really worried about the offensive side of the ball. So when you get down to it, I feel like the culture that Brian Kelly has established and the way that he's probably to be able to bring in one or two guys that talent outweighs the problems. Like, you can build a culture program all you want, but at some point, then it just turns into Notre Dame.
Well, I was about to say, I'll say this too. I think this is something you kind of learn by trial and error too, right? I do think there's a good bit of, like, we can take it back to Michigan with the Fab Five, right? I think it's really hard to build a program and every class is just filled with the guys, right?
Yeah, right.
Because now no one's leading.
Me not leading.
There's no Chiefs and there's no Indians. Everyone wants to be a chief, and there's not a thing.
You need
right?
some glue guys.
You need some
like
glue
Lloyd.
guys. You need some guys to fit in. You need to get some guys to rise from the bottom and get to the top, right? I think through trial and error, I think they may have learned. Like, we would all love to just be able to fill a recruiting class with all 5 stars. But I think the realization of being able to do that is much harder than you think. And I don't care what kind of culture you got. You can have the best culture because think about it. Like, if I'm bringing all 5 stars in and they're all freshmen, some are going to play. Some of them that were maybe rated lower than the other ones. You don't think there's a little jealousy that might go on there? A little bit of hate that goes on there?
How much are you making?
Exactly. And I think that probably played, not to Denver, but like as a whole, like like reeling that thing in and making sure it's controlled.
Well, it's not just about talent, right? Like, it's not just about the best players coming. Yeah, you want the best players, but you also want them to fit in with what you're trying to do and fit in together, right? Look at the Lakers last year. Now, obviously, they're playing a little bit better now. They started this year off terrible. They have a super team.
Yeah.
They have 4 guys on their team, or at least 3 guys on their team that are Hall of Fame caliber players. Like, you look at the end, like when their career is over with, you look at it,
and they've all done the bulk of it somewhere else too.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
So like you bring them all together, and it's just hard to fit. Sometimes it's hard to fit it together, right? And it doesn't always work out, and that's what it seems like happened at A&M.
And to your point, that's probably a little bit easier to do in the NBA, NFL, whenever you have contracts that you have to abide by. Like, you have 3-year deals or 5-year deals where they're like, all right, we're going to figure this thing out or we'll trade you.
Right,
college,
so I guess my point was not necessarily the money part. It was more of the style of play.
Yeah. I was going to tie it in with the transfer portal. Like, okay, immediately, like, it's supposed to be a 3 or 4 year commitment, obviously, to a college. But with the transfer portal and your one free pass, it only takes 1 year for them to say, like, I'm out.
Right.
Like, I didn't like how the way this went. And Denver Harris's pass, to be damned, if they hop in the portal,
Listen.
like it's going to be a war of attrition for A&M. And from everything that Shea said, they're going to double down on what they did in recruiting. Again, they're going to do the exact same method. And at some point, so it seems like Jimbo's not going for we're going to win it all in the first year we have all these guys. He's trying to build a class of, all right, let's get as many people as we can. We'll play the transfer portal, but if we can get one or two of these, or, if we don't lose 15 of them every year, by the time they hit their third year, we have some freshmen that are going to play,
Right.
and some juniors that have been here for 3 years
Right.
where you're like,
Well, here's the deal.
we got some guys.
Accumulating the talent and bringing
Right.
the talent in is important. It's developing that talent and not just developing it physically and on the field. It's developing that chemistry and being able to fit them into your system.
Yeah.
Like we've been talking about. That's maybe more important.
And I'll go this far too. Like I know what it looked like at A&M this year, right? Like they had a shitty year. They did not have a good year. But I would vouch to give Jimbo a little bit of slack in
They
the
don't
sense.
have a choice.
No, not us. I'm just not them. They obviously don't have a choice, but I think we do. And I'm saying that simply on the sense of, well, look at everywhere else he's been. He's won. So it's very hard for me to sit here and say like, oh, he just can't build a program and he can't build culture.
right.
That's
right.
that.
Yeah,
I find that hard to believe.
And it's just
right?
you have to get the buy-in from the
Right,
guys
right.
and all those things, right? And so some guys are gonna. It's everywhere, right? People are gonna leave different places. Alabama has some guys leaving that were high recruits that went there and they're gone because they didn't play or something. There's always a reason for something, right? And it's
When
gonna
you're-
happen everywhere.
When you're that skilled, it's going to happen if you feel
Yeah.
like you're not getting the credit where it's due at some point. Like before Denver Harris was suspended for the rest of the year, he was trending toward being a freshman All-American. Like that
Right.
those are the facts.
Right.
And so if you're LSU, who just loses to Mekhi Gardner, you feel very thin at quarterback. People are going to lean on the recruiting class. Like they're going
Right.
to say, oh, we're going to get Taviano, we're going to get Desmond Riggs.
And we may,
But that ink ain't on the paper yet.
Right, right.
And so you can't depend on 18-year-old kids that haven't
Well,
signed.
here's the next point, right? I'm with you. You can't rely on someone because we've already
you not remember
seen,
the ride for 5?
Exactly. We've already seen how crazy recruiting can get, right? Especially with NIL, and stuff can happen right at the last minute, and you just don't know. It's always happened, even without the NIL, right?
Look at
'Cause
Patrick Surtain.
people were getting paid always. Look at Ryan Paralleau. He wasn't supposed to come here. He came here last minute, right? Like there's all these things that happens behind the scenes that you just don't know, and things happen all the time. But our weakest point now, it's going to be a young group, but our weakest position group right now with everybody leaving is our secondary. And I think that was our weakest point coming into the year. We got a lot of transfers. You get Denver Harris, who was the number one cornerback in the country out of
North Shore?
of Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Out
the
of
same
North
place
Texas, wherever.
Yeah, wherever Chason went.
Yeah.
Same school.
So
Okay.
number one
Which is
cornerback.
LSU's kind of pipeline.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Number one cornerback in the country. Supposed to come here, goes to A&M because of the NIL stuff, right? You have Toviano, who is very highly rated, that looks like he's going to come this way. He may not, but it looks like he's coming this way. And you got Desmond Riggs, who is trending. I think every publication that does recruiting, I think he's 85% or higher predicted to come to LSU, right? These things can change. His commitment is on the 22nd, I believe. If you get all three of those guys, that's two. They're almost all 3 5-stars. 2 of them are 5-stars for sure. One of them is a high 4-star. So now you go from a cornerback position that's kind of light to a very talented cornerback position. Plus you have a couple guys that you had. Terrence Welch is very talented. Like he came out of Acadiana very talented. He has the ability. Now is it going to click? Who knows? But you have the talent in the backfield, in the defensive backfield. You just got to hope that they click and they all play together and they understand it, and that the young guys come in and look like Patrick Peterson and not somebody who's not ready and has to take some time, right? Now, we're talking about the portal. We have a lot of guys that have gone in the portal, and I mentioned that earlier. A lot out of the guys that have left, Jack Bash feels like the one that was the most impactful, the one that could have been the most impactful moving forward. Obviously, we wish him the best. We want him to go out and we want all these guys to go out there and be successful and play well and do all these types of things, right? Everybody leaves for certain reasons. Cole Taylor's in the portal. Colby Fields is in the portal. Desmond Little's in the portal, right? Now, all these guys that are leaving, right? They played a little bit. They weren't starters. They weren't impact players. We have some guys that are targeted or offered from us already in the portal that seem like they want to come this way, right? One of those, Denver Harris. The other one that is coming is a defensive lineman. So we lose a couple defensive linemen. That was another position that they wanted to kind of hit in the portal a little bit. One of the defensive linemen that we just recently offered, and Shea Dixon tweeted this 2 hours ago.
Oh, he has strep throat too. Man's working through it.
I mean, strep throat doesn't mess your fingers up, huh?
Oh no, but he was
Okay.
just sick. He came on the well, it's not carpal tunnel,
Yeah,
but he
right.
came on the power hour, and he was like, boys, I was up till 4 a.m. 2 days in a row on the transfer portal. I was like, Shay, you have 43 more days of the portal. He's like, I know, I got lost in it. And that's what started the Limitless talk. But he's like, you're like the kid that took Adderall and tried to, like, work on his paper for 4 straight days. It's like, I'm not going to get this done. Like, I had all year to do this. Tried to knock it out on the front half. So he just did all of his work way too early. Shout out Shay. Check out the Power Hour.
Check it out.
My guy's still out there grinding.
Grinding, right? So one of the guys, LSU just offered this kid. Freshman, he was a freshman defensive lineman from Coastal Carolina.
2-year guy, right? This is his 2nd year,
What?
I believe.
So you're saying he's coming in as a junior?
Yeah. Because 2021, so he had, as a freshman in 2021, he had 12.5 sacks. He finished with 25.5 tackles for loss in his 2 seasons at Coastal.
And 12.5 sacks in both, like, altogether for both years, freshman, sophomore year.
No.
I'm pretty sure.
This tweet says Stewart had 12.5 sacks as a true freshman in 2021.
Okay, my bad.
He finished with 25.5 tackles for loss combined between the 2 years, right?
Okay.
This is a defensive lineman.
Right.
So you have this kid in the portal. He goes, you hear Coastal, like, oh, what's Coastal? Well, Coastal's in UL's division. They have been pretty successful over the last few years. And if you're going to turn your nose up to a guy coming in from there, then you didn't pay attention to the guys that we got out of UL. Right? Kyron Lacey, I know he had some drops later on, but he had some moments. You have Mekhi Garner obviously he's going to the draft. He was a huge pickup. I think we had one.
Kyron Lacey.
I said Kyron Lacey. Those are the only 2 we got.
Yeah.
And they had 2 guys go to Florida. So you had some guys talented go to different bigger schools. This kid has obviously put up some numbers, and I'm trying to rephrase this the right way. So I don't care where you're playing. If you're dominating,
there's talent everywhere.
Yeah, if you're dominating where you're playing and you're dominating the talent that you're at, you're obviously better than that talent. So then you move forward, and if you have the ability to dominate everywhere. There's a lot of guys in the NFL that come from no-name schools. So he's coming in. That's a huge get. My point is,
well, we don't know if he's coming in, just offered.
I mean, offered.
And LSU's being very particular with who they're picking and choosing.
Which tells me that they have some people that they want. They're very high on. They think that they're going to come in, and they don't have to go out there and throw a bunch of offers because they're not sure if they're coming. Like, they're strategic because I think they're offering and they're going after the people that they know that they probably are going to get, and specific needs, which is a good addition. Another one of those, Xavier Thomas, transfer from Mississippi State. I know Katie's going to like that probably because the Mississippi State person coming at LSU. She's not. I think she's
gonna love him either way.
She's very torn. She doesn't know if she wants to be LSU or Mississippi State. Anyways,
No, she knows what she wants.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
She takes the engagement ring off at the bar.
Yeah, you're right. So Xavier Thomas, Mississippi State wide receivers from Marrero, Louisiana, went to John Ehret, right? Goes there. He was a 4-star prospect. He is a return specialist. I'm going to repeat that. He is a return specialist. So he is good at catching and running back punts and catching and running back kickoffs.
So you're saying he's good at hiding coaching deficiencies?
That's what I'm saying.
I didn't read that in the book.
That you can infer that from that. But hey, listen, our special teams coach has a book out there. If you want to learn how to play special teams, maybe
$25.99 on how to coach Gen Z.
Maybe Xavier Thomas read it.
Maybe so.
But anyway, he is possible. I'm not saying where he's coming, but that's a possible addition. And I think, with all of our mishaps that we had in special teams this year, especially in the return game, it's nice to have someone that that's back there that's an electric athlete that has the ability to take it to the house. When
Change the game.
He took one to the house this year against Georgia. And you'd imagine Georgia has pretty good special teams.
He averaged 17 yards a return as a punt return,
Right.
not kick return.
Right.
And
That's impressive.
And what did Danny McCray say? If you can gain 10,
Let's say 10 plus is
you want to take away a first down that the offense has to get.
Yeah.
Right? And you want to prevent the other team from taking a first down that their offense has to get. So basically he's taking away almost 2 first downs.
he's getting you in
Upon
field goal
return.
range almost with 2 plays.
Yeah. So
10 plus is firm. You'll
Right.
probably find at the end of the year the nation's leader sitting somewhere right around that or maybe a little bit over. 17 is, I would imagine he's probably up there.
He is. He's the number 1 punt returner in the
There
country.
you go.
For yards per return.
So it would be nice for him to come back. And it seems like over the last couple years, kids that are from Louisiana that ended up not coming to LSU, that probably wanted to come to LSU, that get in the portal, end up coming back to LSU, right? A la our 2 safeties. And Denver Harris was he's not from LSU, but he's LSU blood. His stepdad is Tech Minor, and he's from North Houston. There's a lot of LSU people in Houston.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right? So,
Yes,
it
indeed.
seems like he's kind of a home. Same with Harold Perkins. You can say the same thing about Harold Perkins last year. Like, he's from New Orleans, went to Dallas, like, home, right? Came here. So you would imagine that he wants to come back. You'd hope that he wants to come back, and I think that would be a huge boost.
And that's the point that Jordy made yesterday, obviously out today with the bellyache. But he was saying yesterday that Harold and Denver Harris played like, what is it? I don't know what Pee Wee football is, like the equivalent to that. And
City League?
Yeah, City League and Houston together. They are closer than people realize. Like, that's his guy. And so this is what I was saying. If anybody in that room has pull, and if you have to go have this meeting with Denver Harris to see his character, if Denver Harris knocks on your door before you go do that and say, hey, I'm vouching for my guy. Y'all saw what I did this year. If you want to keep Harold happy, keep 40 happy, this is an easy addition. Like, he can actually has pull in that room when you go up to a coach and say, hey, sign my guy. And I think that's going to go a long way with the Denver Harris news. And everybody saw, I would imagine at this point, what Jordy tweeted out where they met. It's good. The meeting seemed to have gone well. There's going to be an announcement soon. So all of that is leading to one assumption,
That's what I'm
which
saying. It
is
seems like he's coming this
Hey,
way.
I'll be honest with you. What do you think this is, the NBA?
why you ask that?
Do you really, truly, like in your heart of all hearts, think Harold Perkins has
Pool?
roster pull?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I don't think so. To be honest with you, I don't think
Yeah,
so. No, I
that's
don't
fine.
think so.
But
I'll
I
be
just
honest
don't.
with you.
But it doesn't even have to be pool. It's just a knock on the door and say, "Hey, I'm just gonna put my 2 cents in. I don't care either way." I would like if you. Like, I just want to put.
Here's how this went.
People go to bat for their guy.
Here's how this went.
No. I can tell you right now, Harold never went up to.
No,
if that
that's
question
exactly
if that ever came up, Harold never went to anyone's door,
Oh no,
knocked
I
on
don't.
him.
I'm not saying he did. I'm just saying he could.
No,
My point is here's where I think the buck stopped. I think there was a elbow during practice. Hey, talk to me about such and such.
Yes.
How do you think he is?
Yeah.
That's how it went.
That's what I'm
That's how
saying.
it
It doesn't have to be a knock on the door.
Yeah,
I'm
but
just
that's not
saying-
roster pool.
But no,
That's not.
That ain't roster pool.
it don't hurt.
That's not.
It ain't roster pool.
That's a hey, you know him. Obviously, they know when they ask him this question, it's probably going to be more of a. If he says, "Oh, this guy's a piece of shit," obviously, out.
Right.
Yeah.
But they know that more likely than not, he's going to give them an answer because they're boys and they're
Yeah.
friends, and it's going to be a good, positive
Yeah.
answer about the guy. So they're going to take that and listen to it, but they're going to do their own due diligence. But that's how that went. If they had
I would-
wanted his opinion, hey Harold, what you got on this guy? I know y'all
Yeah.
grew up together, y'all boys. Like we have. What do you think about him?
I would vouch to say it was. I would go as far as for 99.9% of that conversation happened, and they were like, "Hey, this happened. This is what he said. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good to know."
Right.
And not in a dismissive way either, but just as a
Feeler.
good little note. All right, put that up there.
All right, so we're talking about people leaving, talking about transfers, we're talking about recruits. Mention Mel Kiper. Now, I pulled up his list. I'm looking at his list. And listen, I don't evaluate quarterbacks. I don't evaluate athletes coming out to the NFL. So he is this is his expertise. I am just a casual fan watching the game on TV, casually betting on him sometimes. So I'm going through his top 5. Now, Jayden Daniels is ranked at his 5th quarterback in the draft, which if you're ranked in the top 5 of the quarterbacks, now I'm not saying his is not the Bible, right? It's not like, oh, just because you're ranked 5th, you're going to get drafted as the 5th rated quarterback. But if you're rated in the top 5 of your quarterbacks, you're probably going to get drafted in the top 3-4 rounds. That's usually kind of how. Now, sometimes you get drafted in the first 2, right? Now, I don't think all these guys are going to get drafted in the first 2 rounds. But you go down. And I think he lost a little bit of credibility with me with this list because number 1 on the list. Are you looking at it?
No, is
Okay.
it in the doc?
Yeah. So it's
a link.
It's on 3. So I don't want you to click on it. Don't click on it. I want you to ask me. I want you to answer me. I want to ask you this. Out of all the quarterbacks in college football, who is number 1 on his list? You think? You've seen this already, right?
Probably. Is it the guy from Kentucky? I mean, that's just tough, man.
I don't see it. I mean, listen, I get he has the
No, I get
measurables.
what he physically looks like, but that
But
just
you
you gotta
haven't
play
won
you gotta
anything.
play the position too.
Yeah, and so he's number 1. Bryce Young is number 2. C.J. Stroud is number 3. Anthony Richardson is number 4. Jayden Daniels comes in at 5. Hendon Hooker is 6. Jaron Hall at BYU. BYU always seems to have a quarterback in there. And I don't think the last BYU quarterback's doing very well. Now I like our BYU.
Doing well off the field.
Yeah, apparently. I like our BYU quarterback, or I like the BYU quarterback in New Orleans that's no longer playing quarterback, but
that's a whole different story.
It's a whole different story. And you got Jake Hayner, the Fresno State guy. Stetson Bennett is the 9th-rated quarterback, and Tanner McKee from Stanford is 10th. So let's go back up to the top 5.
All these before you.
I think Hendon Hooker should be in there over.
Literally, because before you go back and like break it down, like I just don't understand like all these years of breaking down quarterbacks. Like how are we still not like breaking down how they actually play the position? As to that's a big body. Oh, that's a strong arm. Oh, that's this and this is that. Like I don't.
How many? Like, my point to your point, we're on the same page here. How many quarterbacks have gotten drafted very high in the first round because of like, man, this guy's got super arm talent. This guy's got this. But his numbers have been super inconsistent. His numbers haven't been great, and just don't pan out in the NFL. And you're like, I mean, you kind of saw that, right? Now, you took a chance. You kind of got arrogant and thought you could coach him up and make him change him. But, like, there's got to be more to it.
Here's my thing. Like, I understand, like, standing on the sideline and watching a guy like Will Levis throw the ball. Probably looks really good, right? Super quick release. Big body. Strong.
Great arm.
Physical.
Yeah, all that
Can
stuff,
run.
right? But I just don't understand how and I get it, Tennessee's offense is not necessarily pro style and this and that, and it's a little gimmicky. And I just don't understand how we could have them two play pretty much the same schedule in the same conference, and you come out with it saying, yeah, I still think Will's the guy over this guy.
I'm looking at this. Will Levis has to be number 1 over Bryce Young strictly based off of size. It can't be off of resume. It can't be off of. You watch Bryce Young play. You listen to everybody talk. I know.
I'm literally going off of so that's my point. Like, he's over Bryce Young. He's over C.J. Stroud. But I'm like, Will's at number 1, and you got Hendon Hooker all the way number 6 or 7?
6.
How?
Yeah.
How are they that far apart?
Yeah. Now, I mean, the Jayden Daniels at 5 thing. If he goes,
the only thing I would say about the Hendon Hooker, he's coming off injury. That's the only reason he would be that low, in terms of you put him behind Jayden Daniels. That's the only thing I would say. Like I'm with you, but I could see in your first mock that you put out, you're like, let's see how he responds from injury.
Here's the deal, and I know ACLs are they're a tough injury. ACLs, the recovery from an ACL isn't what it used to be. It's not a year. We've seen guys come back and it could be. It depends on.
But
we're
also talking about quarterbacks too, where it's that's not the same as asking physically demanding as the other positions.
So we'll see. I get it. Jayden Daniels at 5 though. There's a real possibility now that he leaves. If that is like the consensus rating between a lot of the evaluators in the NFL,
right.
Listen to me.
Also, probably depending on where that 5 is slated in this draft.
That's what I was gonna say.
Right. So that's my point. Like, you could imagine there's probably 2, maybe 3 sneak into the first round. Maybe. Right?
I would say probably 3 of those.
I would top the 3. C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young.
If Stroud is at 3, and the other 2 are in front of him, I would imagine at least 3 is.
Will Levis is going to get drafted in the first round.
Right.
It's just going to happen.
Well,
right?
that's my point. So that's my point. Like if some people end up saying, hey, we want track record and wins and obviously talent to like supersede everything else, well then 2 and 3 are going to go first.
Right.
But if Will's ranked up there, somebody's taking.
Well,
that.
here's my next question.
That.
Here's my next question. If you're going to talk about just sheer talent and projectability, Anthony Richardson should be first.
Yeah.
If you're going to talk about just measurables and arm strength,
but that's my point too.
That's it. Right now, I get
it.
I guess maybe Will has some better quarterback action, some better fundamentals, better footwork.
Right.
Like that all comes into play too.
Right,
and he probably has those things better than Anthony. Actually, I would say yes, he does have those things better than Anthony Richardson. But Anthony Richardson is rated 4th. I'd imagine him going in, middle of the draft, 3rd, 4th round, 3rd round maybe, and that leaves Jayden. Jayden's the next highest quarterback. If he goes out there and tests well and throws well and looks like he's getting the ball on time, like there's a chance that he goes. And if and we talked about it, if his draft grade is 3 to 5,
rounds?
I'd go. If I was him.
I could tell you right now too. Also, with that being said, if he's rated there, if he hadn't pulled himself before it, he's playing in this game, bro.
If he's rated that high,
come hella
Yeah.
high water, he's playing in this game. This
No
is
doubt.
a huge audition.
No doubt.
For him.
No doubt.
I would say it would be a huge audition, but if he's not healthy, it would be you
I
don't.
literally,
yeah, if he's-
I
that's
literally
what he
just
said.
said, come
That's what he
hella
said.
high water. If he hadn't pulled his name, the only reason he's gonna pull his name is because he ain't healthy. So why? So
If
why?
he
even,
says I can't go.
yeah,
right.
But if he's on the roster, he's gonna play a month from now. I'm
And so
telling you
and
that.
here's the other
I
deal.
can promise you that.
And here's the other thing, though. He is a senior technically, so couldn't he go to the Senior Bowl?
Yep, I'm not sure what the rules are on that.
Yeah,
if you
I'm not
enter,
sure what the rules are
If you
either.
enter the Senior Bowl, it might be kind of like whenever you play, like in high school back in the day. If you play in more than one like All-Star game, it's like you're ineligible for college. Is how they did it. Do you not remember that LeBron James played in like the McDonald's All-American and the
Oh, I didn't know that.
the Summit League game or whatever it was. And so because he played in two, he was ineligible for college. Like, I ain't going to college, so I'm playing all of them.
I
I don't know. I didn't know if I don't know if you like declare yourself for a East-West Shrine game or the Senior Bowl. That I would imagine that would declare you that you're
Well,
going
yeah,
to the
but my whole
draft.
point is if he plays in that means he's going into the
Right,
draft.
and
So
that's what happened with Mik'd. They did
Yeah.
the East-West Shrine game. Like, well, all signs point to
yeah.
because they don't want to waste time evaluating
Right.
somebody that's going to go back to college.
So if he decides, hey, I am going, he could play and he's not. Let's say he's not 100% healthy. When is the All-Star game?
After
think-
the season.
I,
at some
I would.
point.
I want to
after
say
the bowl games, right?
100%. I want to say sometime in February.
So-
I think it's February
So
because those guys can't get out of shape. So I
Right.
imagine it's February.
So my whole point is if he is not 100% healthy for the bowl game, and he decides that he is going to go to the draft, he'll be able to go to the Senior Bowl if they have him, which I would imagine they would, and he has another opportunity to go there and get evaluated. That one is probably better for him
Yeah.
because he obviously practices pretty well. Based off of like the guys that we've had, and the reason why he's probably played this year because he's more consistent at practice. He was more a guy that would continually do things that you wanted to see in practice. So he's going to be evaluated all week at the Senior Bowl, and you get a game to go against all these top guys that are coming out. If he is going in the draft and he is kind of banged up, I would say, okay, let's not play in
Sit
the
out
bowl
the bowl
game
game.
and go play in the Senior East Shrine game.
And I think that's when you'll find there's supposed to be, like, I guess an announcement coming soon is what I've heard. I can't verify that. That's just what I've heard just around, like, the internet. You know, that's just what I've
about
heard.
with him
Yeah, like, there's supposed to be an announcement coming soon
of what?
of what he's going to, like, declare either for the draft or come back to school. Like, I feel like, from what I've heard, he's going to announce soon. And if everything stays true to what it seems like it's going to be, he is expected to come back.
I mean,
But,
maybe.
I mean, I can't make the decision for him. That's just that just seems to be the general consensus.
Right, but if the consensus of all the evaluators is he's the
I don't
top
think they're
five,
putting a lot of stock in that.
I'm just not
Here's
talking
a
about
real-
Mel Kiper. I'm
Yeah.
talking about the other evaluators.
Here's
if
a
the
real
other
question.
evaluators are on par with Mel Kiper, he's gone.
I don't
Well,
think a
here's
fifth
a-
round is.
Well, here's a real question.
I mean, in my opinion, I think.
Here's a real question. What does the class next year look like? Because if he's 5 now and is able to come back and improve
Right.
and bump himself up in the top 3,
True.
that's a real opportunity for him to
If
come back
it's
too.
if it's a bad quarterback class going in next
That's
year,
what I'm saying.
and it
And
may be.
that's a real chance for him to stay too.
Yeah.
No matter if consensusly he's a 5 right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You have the number one pick probably lock and key with Caleb Williams at USC.
Yep.
After that, you would have to do some digging. I'm not sure. Like,
Someone's gonna pop up. That's
Hey,
like
that's what I'm
that-
saying.
yeah.
But that's the point. Like, all right, if it ain't that strong already, like he's got a legit chance
And I don't know.
to elevate
It could be.
himself. Yeah.
I just don't know.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I said it because I'm
like,
like, I can't think of any names outside of that one that I'm like, for sure next year.
yeah.
So
yeah.
that could go into it too.
But, like I said, for me, if you get drafted in the top 4 or 5 rounds, and let's just take the first 2 out. If you get drafted between 3 and 5, to me that's worth going because of the risk. I don't think your ceiling, and I'm not an evaluator. I don't know how high. I don't think the ceiling is much higher than that, is what I'm saying.
So I'll tell you what I can kind of remember from the whole thing. If you are, I think it's pretty much if you're slated, if you're getting like, and it doesn't mean you get drafted there.
Right.
But if you're getting like 3rd round grades or higher, those are pretty much the guys that are like, see you later.
You're not third, second, first, second, third, yeah.
Anything else, it's usually like, or if you're getting like the 3rd to 4th, 3rd to 5th,
Right.
Those guys really do have an opportunity to come back here and elevate themselves.
Right.
Because the talent gap is not that big.
No, I agree. For me, I understand the talent gap, and I understand all of that. I'm just, based off of what I am seeing, I just don't know, like, is his arm going to get –
No, decision-making could a lot, though, and that would elevate you a lot.
I mean, yeah. So I just don't know.
That's my bigger point with Jayden, why I think he would come back and why he's probably leaning that way. You get a whole year – and the system that you had to learn, like a little bit learn on the fly. You're learning every player you're playing with, and I know the projectability and what people think with how you saw a limited sample size with Nuss, right? But that's what people were clamoring for almost all year. It's like, get the ball to your playmakers. But in that same vein, you saw Jayden do that whenever he was hurt because he couldn't use his legs, so he was able to start kind of picking you apart a little bit, and that shows signs of promise for what it looks like in the future. You get another year with everybody. Kayshawn comes back, Malik comes back, Brian Thomas comes back.
I'm not disagreeing.
I'm just saying for draft stock wise, instead of being like a 5th rounder, like I would love to be a 3rd rounder.
And here's the deal: people are gonna say, "Well, NIL, he's getting paid." That's not gonna affect. He's not gonna get NIL if he gets drafted in the 4th round. He's getting more money than NIL is gonna give him at LSU. That's just the facts.
Yeah, but
right?
It's also a nice little cushion to have.
Yeah,
but
are you getting enough here to make it another 365 to get a bigger payday?
Right. No,
so that becomes a thing too.
Yeah,
especially with his play style. Like
that's
you risk
That's my other point is if he is going to continue to do that, like obviously he isn't the biggest guy in the world as far as like strength, like stature, right? He's tall, he's like 6'3", but he's not. He's very lanky, and so if that's gonna be
catching
I got it.
See, but. I hear y'all on that. I don't disagree with that. My only, I guess, real disagreement with that is still at that position with that play style, you're still looking at, a shelf life of 7 to 10 years, right? It's not like you're playing running back.
Right. No,
you know what I'm saying? So I still think
they came out with a stat. I think PFF or whoever came out with a stat and said these guys that run, these running quarterbacks, they don't take on more devastating blows than the normal guy.
Right.
Like it's a proven.
Like I'm thinking of someone, and look, I get it. Physically, he was like a Greek god, but if we're sitting here talking about a quarterback that ran and got hit more than anybody else, well, Cam still played 10 years in the league.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, and think about the ones that really
and probably could still be playing right now if he was willing to take a backup job.
And think about the ones
you know what I mean? So
think about the ones that didn't run all that much, a la Andrew Luck, basically retired because he kept getting beat up.
Well, he didn't run because he stayed in there like a statue.
All right, and those guys I feel like would have more devastating blows to them and have more wear and tear on them because of that ability not to move around. Now he could run a little bit, but like these guys that like Kyler Murray never gets hit hard, Lamar really never gets hit that hard. You know,
I mean, Russell Wilson was the king of not taking hits.
Right,
so.
like all these guys that can run, like running quarterbacks, they're going to run themselves out of the game. Like no, not necessarily. Like actually, statistically, it's proven that they don't.
Yeah.
They don't take as many hits as you would imagine.
Proceed.
Right. Right.
So I guess for me, when it comes to the running quarterback thing and taking hits, and look, I don't really think that that's that big of a deal for quarterbacks as far as for, hey, am I going to leave this year or am I not? I think it's a way bigger thing for running backs, though. Like way bigger. Way bigger.
I agree. Running backs have a very shorter, a lot shorter.
It is uber important for a running back to get out and get to the next level and get to the second contract as soon as you can.
Yeah. So I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I hope you're right that the decision comes out early, so then they can figure out what's going to happen. And everybody wants to talk about the quarterback situation. I've gotten a bunch of text messages about that today. Like, what's happening with the quarterbacks? I'm like, these things tend to figure themselves out by natural occurrence. These things seem to figure themselves out one way or the other. Whether there's an opportunity that arises for the guys that maybe weren't supposed to start for some reason or another, or the other guy that is the incumbent, or the guy that was here last year and had a good season that some people just don't really like him or don't really think that he's the guy. Maybe he improves and he shows that he is the better guy. Like these things will end up
working themselves
out.
And that's why I think if Jayden does come back, you'll see a lot of what happened last year, where you have 3 guys and everybody was saying, oh, she has the healthiest quarterback room in the country, but it's like in that same vein, not all 3 are staying.
Right.
And so Miles enters the portal, gets dragged back in by Brian Kelly. We speculate a lot. It's like, does that mean he guaranteed him a starting job? And we're like, well, maybe. But then you see Jayden Daniels and you're like, oh, they obviously want to run a particular style of offense that Miles Brennan doesn't fit into. And that's why he was brought in here, and he was probably more guaranteed I think it's more guaranteed a chance to compete.
Now,
And when you go into this next season, you're going to see it with Garrett Nussmeier, Jayden Daniels, and Walker Howard. And obviously, the backup quarterback is the most popular man in the room, as you've seen at LSU multiple times. But I don't think Jayden's going to be promised anything in terms of, hey, you're going to be the starter and you come back. It's like, hey, you'll be.
No,
This
he will.
This is your job.
Y'all keep saying he is starting. If he comes back, he is the day one starter.
That's all.
all breaks off. I promise y'all.
I think the message is it's your job to lose.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
but that's my point.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, you said he's not going to. We can't guarantee you. No, he's going to start. They're not going to guarantee you that. Hey, you're getting all 12.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a better way to put it.
Okay, well, he's starting, bro.
And if he gets banged up and he gets banged up in camp or something happens, like someone takes his job, like that's another. But it's your job to lose is what I think is going to be the case, right?
Yeah.
And here's my next point. Everybody that wants him gone, everybody thinks that we need to listen. I agree that I like the fact that we have I would like to be able to stretch the field vertically more than we did this year. I think that is beneficial to the team. I think that deep down, I don't know. Brian Kelly doesn't talk to me. I don't know Brian Kelly, but I would imagine that he also likes that too. He likes the ability to have the possibility of going and stretching the field vertically, but he also wants a guy that's not going to be able to get us in bad spots, right? So my point is, what happens is all these people that say, oh, Jayden had a great year. This is what we needed for this year, and we're going to move on. And he did what we needed him to do. And let's say he does go, and he gets out, and everybody is happy, and we get Nuss or Walker to start, right? Now, these guys haven't had a ton of experience playing. What happens if they aren't they don't start off very strong and they're not playing very well? Are you going to be asking, man, I wish Jayden would have stayed? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, hindsight is there, and
I think that whole stretching the field vertically is a very, very, very fine double-edged sword, right? Because you have to be able to stretch the field vertically responsibly.
That's
right.
Yes,
and if you can't, you know what else happens when you say if you were stretching the field and you keep throwing deep balls and you keep missing deep balls and you keep pushing it down the field, and then we run the tape back and there's this one that's wide open underneath, the next one that's wide open underneath, and our offense can't stay on schedule, you ain't gonna be very happy about that either. Right. So I think it's a very fine line of understanding what you want and how it's gonna happen. And I think, just the thought of like, hey, just stretch. Be careful for wanting that a little.
No
too
doubt,
much.
and I'm not saying that needs to be the offense.
No, I know you're not. I'm just saying, but I know I understand too the whispers and the thoughts that kind of go on, and you kind of gotta hone that in a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. What?
No, just agree.
Oh, I thought you were about to say something. I thought you were about to. Okay, so we'll see what happens. We're gonna find out very soon. Drake, can I get one of these little Dos Equis for the bush?
You can tap that keg.
Just
right
pop
in
the
front
one
of
in front of you.
Nah, it's not cold. It's not cold.
That would be actually kind of sad if you just drank like a hot beer straight from it.
I can't do that. Even though I heard a story about you that you enjoy drinking hot alcohol on a boat fishing. It was hot vodka with a hot mixer. That sounds awful.
You need help.
I don't drink beer.
That still sounds terrible.
Honestly, there's some ice in the ice chest, wasn't there? Where the beer was being iced down, I would imagine.
I was fishing. I don't have time to. I can't be icing my drink down here to scare the fish away. That's what I was told.
Jesus Christ.
And I dunked it in the water to get a little mixer, just a little salt of the air.
That's not true. I'm not letting you tell me that. That's not true. All right. Let's talk a little basketball. One, LSU plays tomorrow night or tomorrow afternoon. They're back. The men's basketball team is back on the court after finals, but I want to talk about the Pelicans because they play tonight, and if you haven't watched, they are extremely fun to watch. They're very good. They play really good defense. The atmosphere in New Orleans, the atmosphere in the Smoothie King Center is unbelievable. It's very electric.
So you're telling me they are what we thought the Saints would be?
They are what we thought the Saints would be.
How
and thank God
does
the Saints,
New Orleans move on?
Thank
I
God
love
the
it.
Saints will have a game this weekend.
Did you watch? I barely watched.
I watched.
I just can't do it anymore.
I watched. I will not watch anymore.
Yeah,
Baker Mayfield or Andy Dalton?
Andy.
Oh.
Andy didn't lose that game.
No, I know.
I think the coaching lost that game. But, so Zion Williamson.
Sean McVay or who's our coach? Dennis Allen.
Sean Payton. Come back, please.
Come back.
Zion Williamson's averaging 24 points a game, right? So he is who everybody wants him to be. Right now, he's missed a few games, but he's been playing majority of the time.
Who doesn't
right?
these days?
Right.
As long as he's in there majority.
He's played 19 games, right?
Yeah.
He's averaging 24. Brandon Ingram's averaging 21. C.J. McCollum's averaging 17, which C.J. McCollum hadn't even hit his stride yet.
Neither has Ingram. At 21.
Neither has Ingram. Trey Murphy has
He's hurt.
been very good. 13.5 points a game. He is a great compliment on the outside, right?
Yeah.
He's probably going to be in a three-point contest, I'd imagine, in the middle of the season because he is
Great betting opportunity.
what?
Trey Murphy, if he's in the three-point competition.
Is that available?
If he's in, yeah, they put odds out on everybody to win, like, the three-point competition.
Oh, to win it.
Yeah.
To win it.
And if Steph Curry is going to go in there and CGI his way through it, then, who can we trust?
So you're saying Steph should shoot like full
He
court
should have
shots?
to throw it. Yeah, he should have to throw it like a slingshot. But I think what has happened, and it's not a good or bad thing, but you're seeing with Brandon Ingram out the influence Zion or the impact Zion can have on a game, because there is a world where you almost have too many people on the court. You saw it early on. I'm not comparing him to the big three with the Heat, but you saw it their first year. It's like, you take it. No, you take it. They were just basically running ISO down the court. Like, we don't know how to play together yet, even though, like, our games should match up a little bit. Whenever you have that many guys that you want to see have the ball in their hands, it gets a little dicey. So that's why you're seeing, I think, a little bit of the Zion breakout, where he's being able to be point Zion a little bit again, and he controls the entire flow of the game. They run the whole thing through him. Alvarado gets banged up with the rib. And the only reason I bring that up is because
he's awesome.
Well, you saw everybody first run on the court when he was hurt, and then, like, they're all standing around him. That's the camaraderie the team has built, which is the first thing it takes to, like, we believe we're winners. Like, we like everybody in this locker room. We go to bat for our guys. And another thing that happened was when Zion got fouled for the third time, like, kind of pulling him down a little bit, where it's like, hey, stop doing that. And you saw, I think it was Graham, who ran over, and, like, I think he got teed up, and he was talking to the ref. He goes, what would you do if a ref got hit? Like, you wouldn't run over there and defend your guys. Like, that's all I was doing. Like, I can't let him get bullied, because Zion's not going to do anything.
Listen,
he can't.
the leadership on the team is great, right? The way they run their offense, the way they play is very, 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 very fun. I think Alvarado is very key to the team because of how pesky and how good he is defensively. And if he can shoot like he did the other night, he can make those threes. He is dangerous.
Yeah.
Right? He would have put up 35 points or something. I think he made like 6 or 7 threes, something crazy, right? If he can do that, I'm not saying score 35, but if he can consistently hit three-pointers, that is a weapon. Because
with the defense that he plays,
exactly,
100%.
Exactly, right? And so the Pelicans are a half game up on the Suns, right? They're 16-8. The Suns are 16-9. They play the Suns today, and then they play the Suns again.
The Suns are in disarray
on Sunday. Why do they play them 2 days in a row?
That happens.
It happens
sometimes.
Do they?
Yeah.
Not like every week, but
Yeah.
like that happens.
But
Sometimes.
it happens in your conference. Like,
Yeah.
They pick on each other. It's a little bit different than, well, I guess it's kind of this. It's a little bit different than the NFL, where you kind of spread it out. Like, they played their conference game super early.
I feel like, I guess.
But if you talk about the Pels, just to win their division, which I put a future in before the year, which is they don't have to win the West. They just have to win I don't even know what conference they're in. Like
The Southwest Conference.
the Southwest Conference.
They're a half game over. So they're first in the
They're
Western
winning the
Conference.
whole West, but I'm talking about their
Yeah,
conference.
they're a half game up on Memphis Grizzlies. Memphis has the same record as the Suns. They're 16-9. So they're a half game up on Memphis.
But
right?
if they're able to continue on this pace, and Memphis is obviously electric with Ja Morant. But if you got him before the, I think you can get him at 105 right now to win the Southwest Division. Before the year,
Yep.
plus 320, 25 to win 105. So got that on the ticket.
Yeah,
Just to
there.
put a little tickler
Sure.
out there.
Big LSU, you're a big Louisiana bias fan. I love that. I love that
gotta
about
put
you.
the bets in just in case.
But I need to go to a game. I'd like to go to a game.
Yeah, I
It's
haven't been
just-
down there yet either. I need
It's
to get
hard.
down there.
I like to get feet on the court.
Yeah,
That'd
I'd
be
like
nice.
to
Are
be.
you
I'd like to be
feet
on the wood. Huh?
I like to have feet on the wood.
Huh?
What's the Ari Gold? I could take a fucking 3 if I want.
I like to sit on the bench.
Yeah.
That's great.
What a
Put me in
show.
there.
But yeah, it's. I know it's early, like you said, with NBA basketball, and when you saw the Pels last year get off to
Well,
a
they
what?
play 82 games, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but when you saw the start they got off to last year, and still were able to push the Suns to the brink, and it feels like the Suns are more nervous about playing the Pels than the Pels are playing
That's
the
what
Suns.
Zion.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what the guys on the team is. Just they play very good complementary basketball.
It's fun to watch.
They
finally.
haven't played with all of their superstars healthy.
But saying
very
they got a very relatively young ball club too, so they run, man, and that's today's
McCollum's
NBA.
the oldest. McCollum's now you have Garrett Temple on the bench. He's the oldest on the team.
They run, man.
Yeah, it's Udonis Haslam.
Yeah,
2.0.
Right. But like you have you have the oldest impact player on the team is McCollum.
Yep.
Well,
He's what, 30, 31?
Maybe 31.
Yeah.
Well,
Maybe 31.
31 pounds overweight.
Who,
McCollum?
Mm-hmm.
No.
He got a little Kyle Lowry in his game now.
No.
He's always been a little Kyle Lowry.
Yeah. I saw him actually.
He ain't that
I saw him.
dumpy, though.
I saw him walking. I saw him
Yeah.
walking his dog the other day in New Orleans one time. I swear to God, I was walking to get coffee. This was probably about a month ago.
Look good?
Look good.
Okay.
Looks
I'm just
fine.
saying, look, maybe it's because it is like a little
He
bit
doesn't. He plays a slower game.
Yeah, old man game.
I mean, I would.
He's got a little more range than old man, but he plays a slower game.
He doesn't play above.
He's
the
not
rim.
He's not an
Well,
explosive
I
athlete.
guess the better way to put it is it changes the pace and the tempo at which they want to go, because when he's out, and you need that guy. You need somebody to be a floor general. And kudos to McCollum because he brought this whole thing together. Like,
Yep.
once they made that move, it was like, okay, we have bona fide leadership in the locker room. Like, Garrett Temple, great. He's not on the floor. To have C.J. McCollum be able to play and kind of influence the entire locker room. I mean, if you go back to last year, he was the one saying, I'm in, like, the head of the Players Association in the NBA, and I hadn't even heard from Zion yet. And that was when everybody put a bunch of red flags up, and for him to reach out and be able to get kind of Zion on the same page. And now you see Zion all the way bought in, because why wouldn't he be? Like, this is the thing about New Orleans, right? They love a winner. It doesn't care what sport it is. It's whoever is. If you're winning and playing fun and exciting brand of any sport, those people are going to the game. And the Blender can be one of the better environments in basketball. It can be one of the more desolate places you've ever been. But when
they're
it's
good.
But when it's right,
They talked about last year in the playoffs a lot. They're like, damn, they're behind it. You know, like New
they
Orleans.
love sports.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
want, and it couldn't be worse for the Saints, but it couldn't be a better scenario for the Pelicans, where it's like, I'm going to the Pelicans game on Wednesday.
city.
I'm gonna be
New
honest with
Orleans,
you.
for sure.
Obviously, like, this year is what it is. I think it's one of those things where it's probably the best thing for the Saints, in the sense of, I think they understand we can't lose this city because this city and this state is built on football. So we got to get back to that.
Right. Right.
I just don't know the plan for the Saints to get back.
I don't think anyone knows it right now.
Listen.
I think that, there's things that's up in the air,
There's
but there's going to be changes.
There's going to be changes, right? And we are a reactionary society, right? Like, we like to see, when we see it, we want to react to it. And, there's things that are happening that we don't know, that we don't see, right? Let's go. There's not a lot of positives that can happen through
The end of the season.
Yeah, like, the season has been a lost season. It's been a bad season. But let's go through some of the positives. One, the Saints have drafted extremely well recently. Now, I know their left tackle has gotten hurt, but look at the mid-round guys that they've gotten that are impact player. Alontae Taylor, he's not mid-round, but then you have all of these guys that you have drafted that have been impactful this year, right? I think Trevor Penning's going to be good. I think those guys are going to be – the defensive ends that we drafted the last few years are good. They just haven't stayed healthy. But when they're on the field, they're – like, Marcus Davenport is a playmaker when he's on the field, right?
Did they re-sign him?
I don't know.
I think he's exercised the 5th year. I would be shocked if they bring him back.
And so, but here's my point is, as bad as it is this year, I know we don't have a first rounder. That does suck. Sean Payton's going somewhere next year. We are going to get something back for Sean Payton. Hopefully, it is a first-round pick for Sean Payton.
And that's where you get into not even the debate, but if you're the Saints, you take nothing less.
Right. Unless you're going to give us a mid-rounder and an actual player,
asset,
an asset.
Not like a player, like an actual very good player.
Yeah, like you're gonna go to Dallas. I want Micah Parsons.
Good luck.
I know. I was a joke. That was a joke.
And you could say the same thing but you can.
You might be able to take Trevin Diggs out of him.
Yeah, right. That's a joke. That was a joke. But my point.
You can play hardball if you're the Saints. You'd be like, okay, you're
not doing it. Oh, hey, Jerry.
Oh, this guy just runs the roost.
That's it.
Goes through the exit. Emergency exit only. God,
the alarm.
He ain't even in office attire anymore
the alarm
either.
Does not sound.
Trade secrets.
Yeah.
God, you look good.
I
hate that. How easy it is.
Finish your point.
What was I saying?
Jesus.
I just talk, man.
You were talking about the Saints, and you were talking about what we're gonna get for Sean, how we can play hardball and not trade him and make him not go.
Oh yeah, like I was saying, you could play a little bit of hardball wherever. If he wants to go to the Chargers, if he wants to go to the Cowboys, you can hang that over the head like you ain't getting him.
Yeah.
Like, because Sean Payton doesn't own the rights to himself.
Right.
He signed a contract. He opted out of that contract. The Saints still own the rights to him.
This is not gonna happen.
I think when that time comes, if he ain't coming back here, I think they're shooting for the stars and landing on clouds.
Yeah.
When it comes to what they're
Yeah.
gonna get.
But at the least, a first rounder.
Right, and that you'll get one back, which sucks because our first rounder that we traded to the Eagles is a good one.
Yeah.
You know, they're higher in the draft. But Mickey Loomis has drafted very well. He has done well in free agency. Now, some of the free agents we got this year, they haven't been what we wanted them to be.
And I think that
need a
we
quarterback.
should have seen that coming, maybe.
Yeah, you need a quarterback.
That they were
I'm not
doing
talking
that
about
to sell
Jarvis. But Jarvis, like, he's been banged up. I think when Jarvis is healthy, he's good.
They haven't had the leadership quarterback.
Right, and so you go out and get one. This is about a 1% chance of happening, maybe less than that. I'm holding out hope.
Go ahead, say it. I know what you're saying.
I want Sean Payton to come back.
And you want who?
And I want us to go out and sign Lamar in free agency. I want it. That is a very, very
You're playing fantasy football.
The betting odds on that would probably be plus 10,000, right? I understand that, but it's still out there. It's something that could happen. I don't think it's going to happen, but we need a quarterback, right? And we need somebody who can come in and be innovative and understand offensive play and the way the offense is going now. Pete Carmichael has been there for a really long time. And this is my whole point. We were talked about before the year. Hey, Pete's, he's been there for a while. You'd imagine that he has, Sean Payton has rubbed off enough on him to where he is going to be successful. Now, on the other side of the coin is he has been there for a very long time under one of the best offensive minds in the history of football, and they've had a very successful team. Why hasn't he gone anywhere else?
Dude, I always wonder this, man. When I see guys like that, I always wonder if, because you can argue, why hasn't he gone anywhere else? But then you could also sit here and say, well, shit, why hasn't Sean gotten rid of him?
Right.
So I think he's obviously probably really good. I think guys like that sometimes get into a situation where they want so badly to put their own stamp on something that they change stuff up and it doesn't need to be changed in a way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they want so badly to be known for this is mine right now instead of just being like, hey, bro, you know this shit works.
Yeah.
Stop worrying about if Sean's gone. Run this shit how you know it works. And I don't know if he's done a good job of that.
Man.
At the end of the day.
No, I think they try to do just do that too much, but in a sense of hey, do what works. Stop worrying about you.
I showed you
I'm gonna beat my I'm gonna put my stamp on this team. And
hell with your stamp, man.
Give me that playbook you had,
win.
Sean. Yeah,
just win.
What'd you learn from Sean Payton?
You want to be your own man? Win. Just win, baby.
But that's why I was a little hesitant for the Pete Carmichael call up, because you could point back to I think 2 games where he was offensive coordinator. You don't think Sean Payton was heavily involved in all of those play calls?
I believe that Sean Payton obviously was the offensive coordinator. Everybody knows that.
Yeah.
I believe Pete Carmichael was a great assistant to him.
Yeah.
As far as, hey, he probably did something well, whether it be he did, he and Sean may have enjoyed the conversations back and forth, and maybe he does have a good offensive mind, but having a good offensive mind and being able to put it into action are completely different things.
And here's the thing. I won't say that either, because I'll say this. Look, I get it. Kevin McConnell did under Sean McVay, but maybe there was no real – maybe he was only getting real offers to have lateral movement.
Right.
And no upward movement.
And there's no reason to go.
So maybe he just said, well, hell, I'm going to stay here.
Yep, absolutely.
So, that's possible, too.
Yep, there's a whole bunch of reasons.
Yeah.
But regardless, there needs to be some changes.
Yeah.
You need to have a quarterback, and you need to find a quarterback. You can't go out there and sign a guy for 1 or 2 years. You have to find a guy that's going to be there for an extended period of time that can put them in a position to where you know what you're going to get from the quarterback position. And I don't know how you do that if you don't have a first-round pick, or if you don't. You have to go out and get him in free agency. I don't know what the free agency market's going to look like quarterback-wise, right? You're not going to go out and
money
sign
that the Saints have to.
Yeah, but I think we've realized that you can figure that out. I'm not worried. The Saints are one of the best teams in the league at the salary cap manipulation, so I'm not worried about them trying to find the money. What I am worried about is them trying to find having the options and saying, okay, well, what are we gonna do? And now, you have a guy on the.
Jameis is
I just don't understand.
under contract for next year.
I'm not understand. I'm not. Well, is it guaranteed? I think he already has all of his guaranteed money.
Yeah, I mean, you could cut him, but I'm just saying he's still under contract and probably would want to come back to the team. And I don't know if we talked about it on your show, what show I talked about it on, but I feel like it was kind of the Saints are protecting themselves a little bit because how they mismanaged Jameis's injury. It felt like they brought him back too soon, and the Saints medical staff doesn't have the best history, a la Michael Thomas. You see that when they get hurt, it doesn't seem like it's going well.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to blame the entire, medical team, but Michael Thomas is clearly, liking tweets and saying all this stuff about how he was mismanaged and rushed back. And you could say the same thing about Jameis. So I think the reason he's not playing, because there's no reason that, Andy Dalton had a good game, right? Against the Bucs. They should have been able to win that.
Had a couple drop. I'm not counting Taysom Hill's drop, but they had some drops on Olave, Jarvis.
You got to be able to overcome that stuff.
No
It's
doubt,
going to happen in a football game.
Absolutely.
But I think the reason you haven't seen Jameis is that they're putting him on the shelf for probably next year. Now, would you want to see somebody else brought into the room and get rid of Andy Dalton? Absolutely. That's where I stand on it. I just don't know who you get in free agency to where you could be all right, this is what's going to put us over the top. But in the NFL, you have to have a quarterback.
You have to. Well, and maybe they want it. Maybe if they get Sean, the first round pick back from Sean, maybe they like one of these guys in the draft and they go get, because they're going to be in the upper part of the draft. I still need them to win 2 games.
I think it's we're running out of time.
I know they've had so many chances to win 2 more games and they fucked me.
How many games are left? 4?
4 or 5.
4, I think. There were
I think 5.
They're 3 and 8.
I think 5.
3 and 9. 3 and 9.
We're in week.
No, they got 4 wins,
We're in
right?
week 14.
They're 4 and 9.
They have 3 games left.
No, 4. It's week 18.
Yeah, but the bye is this week.
Well, I was about to say weeks left.
Yeah.
Okay, so 3 games.
Yeah, we got to win 2.
Got to win 2 or 3. Damn it.
We might
think
have to
we're-
cash out on this thing.
You can't cash out. That's a sucker bet.
I don't know who's left on the Saints schedule, but it doesn't feel. I have zero confidence.
I don't have
Now,
any.
if it was Lamar Jackson, Alvin Kamara, and Sean Payton, I would have a lot of confidence.
There's got to be some change. The way the league's going, the way all these guys are coming in there, especially young quarterbacks and having success early on, you've got to make some changes and you've got to figure that out, because you are wasting a defense that you have that is extremely good.
And running out of time with the defense. Demario Davis is going to start looking old at some point, even though you saw Bobby Wagner last night
Right.
in his 11th year. I don't know where Demario, but it feels like they're probably around the same age.
Demario, I think, is 32.
I mean, that's
33.
tough to keep asking him to do what he's doing.
But he does it, and he does it, and he doesn't get hurt, and he's there, right? But then you have Cam Jordan's getting older.
I don't know how he's played as well as he has for so long.
Unbelievable,
That's
right?
unbelievable.
You have Marshawn's been hurt all year, but he's going to come back. He's already signed to a deal.
Yeah.
You have your safeties are signed. You have guys that you have pieces back, and you have young corners on the other side that are good. You have a nickel guy. The defense that has some pieces that are. Pete Werner's really very good. He's going to be there, And they have. I will say this: the linebacker position. Now Demario's been there for a while, but they seem like they always hit on that middle linebacker spot, right? You had Demario Davis, you had Jonathan Vilma, you had these guys that they sign and they come in and they all seem like they're cut from the same cloth. And so I'm not saying he's replaceable because you don't want to lose him, but you're right, that defense is getting older and you want to be able to capitalize on how good they are.
It feels like the window's gone, right? Like at least the championship window, but to be able to compete.
It doesn't feel like the window's gone. It feels like the window needs a quarterback.
Yeah, it feels like they need the offensive. So part of the window was the offense was so good, defense needed a revamp. The defense got revamped in the last 4 years. They're very good. Now the offense just went the other way. So now you got to figure out how to match each other and be able to do it.
Yeah.
That's the hard part.
It's a lot. The answer to it is a lot, but they are a quarterback away. And I don't know if what sucks is
you have so much on the outside
well,
too.
I was about to say what sucks is you've kind of had 2 years for it and obviously signed another one, but you're looking at 3 years where you don't know if Jameis is the guy. You don't.
Jayden Daniels to the Saints.
For when?
Next year.
When's he going to play? Next year?
Quarterback. Start him.
No.
Taysom Hill and Jayden Daniels, same backfield. Alvin Kamara, put them all 3 back there, run the full house.
I mean, here's the thing though.
Yeah, this is why you'll never.
You know what's gonna happen? You know what's gonna happen?
You know how many dynasties I won in NCAA?
Yeah, that's where the buck stops for you.
You know what's gonna happen? Let me tell you what's gonna happen. You ready? We're gonna Sean Payton. We're gonna trade Sean Payton. We're gonna get a first rounder, right? The first rounder is gonna be
Top 4 pick at this point.
top half of the draft.
So the Saints start tanking.
No, but they're already tanking anyway without trying. So they're gonna be the
Bad
top.
feeling.
They're gonna be the top half of the draft, and they're gonna go ahead and draft Will Levis. That's what's gonna happen. Watch.
Taste him again.
Watch. That's what's gonna happen. And I hope Will Levis ends up being Josh Allen, and not who's somebody that's super physical and can run that wasn't very good. I don't know. Someone else.
Taysom Hill.
No,
You don't need
Taysom Hill is not. I mean,
You don't
Taysom
need him
Hill's-
to be Josh Allen. We got a dome. Just go be good enough.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right.
They did draft him because he could throw it in the wind.
We don't need him to do that. We
Perfect.
got a
It worked
dome,
out,
bro.
and it worked out. I just need somebody who can throw it and do the right things.
Yeah.
And be
I need
good.
a decision maker. Bro.
Yeah.
I need somebody exciting.
I
back
want,
there.
Decisive.
I want Bryce Young.
Well, no shit.
I mean, we're going to be in the top half of the draft, Lloyd. What do you think we're going to be? We have 4 wins all year.
Well, you have to trade him first.
Okay. You're going to.
And that's where you got to hope that Sean Payton almost does the Saints a favor and be like, I'm going back to coaching.
Well, it seems like he's not going to fuck them. Like, he still comes around the program. Like, he still has, like, you'd imagine. Him and
But
Mickey.
you have to have
Mickey
you have to have an opening.
Maybe he's still got a locker in there. Huh?
Huh?
What's LA's record?
6-6.
Better than ours?
All right. Who else would he go to? The Cowboys.
Dallas.
The Cowboys ain't happening.
Right.
Yeah, it's out. Unless the only way the Cowboys would still be in play this year is if it was a playoff loss that was
Which could totally happen with McCarthy.
a playoff loss
Would
that
you
was
want-
by far McCarthy's fault. Like
A first round
and like
exit.
like decision after decision, like how did you make these decisions? That's the only way.
Would you
All
want
right,
Aaron
Cowboys
Rodgers?
out. I would,
They're not going to replace their coach.
but they've
Aaron
already said
Rodgers isn't a first-round pick.
hey they've already said like
Well, yeah,
they've
but you're
committed to
trading
him.
Sean
next year.
Payton.
I'm not saying trade him. Like, can't Aaron Rodgers get out of that deal?
Oh, yeah, he does.
Yeah.
He has a player option.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would bring Aaron Rodgers in, absolutely. But he also is going to go to now that I'm thinking about it, it might be a perfect fit where Pete Carmichael just says, you do it. Take over, like, do whatever you want to do, a la Drew Brees. Like, Sean Payton and him were in lockstep.
Hey, look how good our defense is. Look how many weapons
You have.
Go
This is
ahead
what
and
you've
do
been
it.
clamoring for.
Go ahead and do it. You have a great fan base. You're indoors. You don't have to worry about the cold. You're in a conference that is winnable.
Because
And
he
you're in the
convinced
NFC.
himself he likes the cold. He doesn't like it. He's from California.
Maybe. I mean, he's still young enough to have 2-3 years left if he gets rejuvenated. I don't know if he wants that, though.
A change of scenery would go miles, but I think it would have to be contingent on a better coach. Or
We'll see.
you give
I think
him,
that's imminent, dude. I think that's
Do you
that
think
situation's changing.
Do you
as
think
the year.
DA's one and done?
Yeah.
You sacrifice
so.
what he did as a head coach for the defense.
The real question is what
Yeah.
do you actually do with him? Like, is he one and done and out of the building? Is he back to the DC? Like, how do they
I mean, when does that ever happen?
move on from? How does that
Yeah.
relationship go to the next whatever it is?
I don't think he's going to go back to
I don't
RDC.
think so either.
He'll be
I'm
a
just,
DC somewhere
I'm
else.
just
Oh,
saying.
he'll immediately get hired.
yeah,
Yeah.
of course, of course.
So if he's going to do that, you might as well just say, all right, I'll stick it here. I got a house here. Like, if you're going back to be a defensive coordinator, just swallow your pride and be a DC at the Saints where you know your scheme works.
It's
That's
not even
a-
about pride. That's why I said, how does the breakup happen?
Yeah.
Because if
Doesn't
he
have
doesn't,
to.
if he doesn't, if that conversation or explanation or whatever doesn't go well, he ain't coming back.
I would love for DA to walk in the office and say, listen, I just want to be a DC. I'm going to just go back
I
and be a
appreciate
DC,
the
bro.
opportunity.
Hey man,
This shit
this was a
sucks.
good audition, boys. You know what
I
I'm good
appreciate
at.
you. Like, let me just go back
Let
there.
me do
It's
what
all
I
good.
do.
The defense still play with me.
Yeah.
Let me just go that way.
Yeah.
I'd like them to hire an offensive-minded guy again, obviously. I don't know who that would be.
I think you got to get Pete out of there.
Mm-hmm.
Joe
Yeah.
Brady as OC?
We've seen that movie. But
No. I don't think you did. The Matt Rule. Look what Baker did with 2 days under Sean McVay. Like, obviously, Matt Rule would sacrifice Joe Brady to try to save his job. And
Well, that's how that works.
Right,
If the
that's
head
what I'm saying, you
coach
start
is not
making
doing well, you
changes.
start
Yeah.
making fire.
It's not me.
Fire people. Yeah.
that's
And
what I'm
then-
saying. So I don't think that's a fair sample size of Joe Brady as an offensive coordinator. There was rumors of him going somewhere that
Maybe Joe
it was
Brady.
somewhere
maybe.
in college, and he
Maybe.
was like, absolutely not. I'm not.
Where is he in
going-
Buffalo this year?
Yeah,
He doesn't
Buffalo's
wanna be- he's
quarterback
not a
coach.
college guy.
No,
He
that's
does not
what I'm
wanna be in
saying.
college.
People were trying to start that rumor, and he was like, I'm absolutely not going to college, or else I'd still be in college.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see. I don't know. I mean, I want some fresh blood in there, and I want someone that has the ability to be creative, but like not the gimmicky type of creative. Like I don't want like the whole like I'm the young, like I'm gonna do this, and like I don't want like the Cliff Kingsbury. Like I want the
you want Mike McDaniel?
Mike McDaniel, or I want Shanahan or someone like, obviously you're not gonna get Shanahan, but like someone like that, like
From his tree.
like not necessarily from his tree, but like this guy is like he's young, he's innovative, but it's not about him. You know what I mean? Like it's not like I don't know. It's hard to explain that part of it, but like you want somebody that knows what he's doing and consistently can do it no matter. I mean, Shanahan won with Brock Purdy, and Brock Purdy looked great. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's scheme and that's understanding your guys and that's putting them in a position to win.
BCB.
Right. What?
BCB.
What does that mean?
Big Birdie. That's what they call him.
Oh yeah. So now you're gonna censor yourself.
Oh, I forgot his last name.
Oh, okay.
What's his first name?
Bryce.
Oh, that's
Brock.
what it was. BCB. Big
it?
Cock Bryce.
I thought it was Brock.
Brock.
I mean Brock. I was looking at Bryce Young in here. All right, let's get out of here. Not
get
my
outta
fault.
here.
Not my fault. Brought to you by Doge. You don't have that?
Oh, no, I do. That's what I was putting up my Instagram. So I sent it to you boys. I got a curtain call, and that is it. It is, speaking of the Saints, so Lutcher, obviously with the way that the LHSAA has changed how the format works and everybody is in the dome at the same time and they play 18 games and nobody knows what's what. Also, before I get to this, did you see how St. Thomas More won?
No.
Onside kick, get the ball back, no timeouts, drive down and score a touchdown.
Let's
ball
go.
game.
Let's go.
Oh, wow.
What a
Yeah.
way to end.
But on top of that, is that Lutcher, obviously, Jarvis Landry alumni, plays for the Saints. They weren't able to practice in the dome. He got them to open up the Saints indoor practice facility so Lutcher could run pregame practice there. So curtain call to Jarvis Landry helping out. What's a Lutcher Tiger? Always a Lutcher Tiger.
I love that. I love
Get the
that.
boys in the building. Who do I got to call? Because I want another state chip on the belt. So shout out Jarvis. Never forget where you're from. And that's
Love
the
that.
part that made us so excited about him coming here. But
He's fine. It was just a
I know,
tough year
I know,
with
tough
injury.
year, but that's awesome for him to be able to help out the high
Yeah.
school like that, and for the Saints to be like, yeah, dude, come on in. We got a bye week.
Yeah, I like
Love
a
that.
lot.
So
Love
that's my
that.
curtain call.
You got a curtain
I
call?
do not have one today. I'm going to be
Okay.
honest with you.
Okay, curtain call to the weekend.
To
for
the
you.
weekend.
My curtain call to St. Thomas More. I never got to win a state championship.
That's because your ass was 6 inches from the ground.
Never won a state championship in any sport in high school. I got to the semifinals a few times.
Oh, I got one on you.
Yeah, I never did it.
Damn.
Never could do it. Our best year was my sophomore year, and I had a big old cast on my junior year, and I had a big old cast on my arm at the end of the year and didn't play. So,
What, from that shark fight?
yeah, from the alligator bite I got on my arm. So shout out to the St. Thomas More Cougars for winning the state championship. Very happy for y'all, and especially the way you did it with the onside kick and the driving down. Thank you for letting me know that. I did not know that. Great show today. Great Friday show. It's the what did you call the Friday show?
Free Flow Friday.
Free Flow
I love to
Friday.
see animals in the wild.
That's a good alliteration there.
Thank
Hey,
you.
I love to see animals in the wild.
In the wild, dude. Unbelievable.
Can't help himself.
Unbelievable. You can't have yourself
Bar's
on.
not even open over there.
Oh, man.
All right. Great show today. Enjoy the weekend. We'll be back live Monday from 6 to 8 p.m. from our studio. You're watching Mik'd. We're brought to you by Sterling Automotive. If you haven't liked and subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do so. Comment. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, wherever you like to watch, look at your social media. Interact with us. We'd like to interact. We go back and forth with a lot of people on all of our socials. All of our socials. And if you can't listen and you're driving, you don't want to watch it on your phone, go ahead and download the old podcast. It is on all networks, Spotify and Apple. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all's support. We'll see y'all next week. Peace.
See.
Monday, 6 to 8.
Monday, 6 to 8.